We are here with Chase from Suzuki. They have a couple new bikes out. I wanted to have him talk about them, specifically around the fact that this is a new platform. What can you tell us about the new 8R?
Yeah, so we started with an all-new chassis and motor design. So all-new parallel twin, 776cc, 270-degree crank. Makes great horsepower, great torque, really good mid-usable power, so super fun to ride. About 82 horsepower, and the bike is approachable, so it can be ridden by someone who's an intermediate, like a beginner rider, or even someone who's an expert that wants something just to rip around and have a good time. So that's kind of the idea behind this middleweight platform. And then price point's great, so you're under 10 grand for an 800cc.
That is really good. Yeah. That's fantastic. I rode the GSX-750 just a couple weeks ago. Awesome platform and bike, but it's pretty expensive.
Sure.
Now, this being under 10 grand, that's a very good option for somebody that's looking for that size bike.
It's really good, and it's a little bit like more approachable. So ergonomics are a little more casual than a full super sport bike.
Yeah.
You have all the new features. You have like quick shifter, ride-by-wire throttle, a nice TFT display. So it's all modern. A really nice looking package, but like I said, good price and all new basically.
Is it the same quick shifter that's on the GSX-S1000?
Yes.
Because that's a fantastic quick shifter.
Yeah.
It's so smooth. It rivals the BMW quick shifter, honestly.
Yeah, they did a really good job. It means it's clutchless up and down, and it's got the slipper clutch, so when you're going down, it works seamlessly with that as well. So, they did a really good job spending their time. They took their time. We took our time with the engine package and kind of the way it rides and feels, So that really stands out when you actually get on this motorcycle and ride it.
Okay. I'm noticing that it has handlebars that are raised up rather than clip-ons like a traditional super sport.
Yep.
Is that meant more for the ergonomics? Can people change that out if they want to go run some twisties or the track days?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
So the thought is that this bike isn't a replacement for the GSX-R. It's not a full super sport bike. It's more of just a sport bike. So the idea being not as aggressive with full clip-ons, a little bit more upright riding position so that it can be commuted on or sport touring or just ridden around the back roads or taken to the track. So the way it's set up now, there isn't an option for lower clip-ons. I'm sure people are going to design them because people are going to go out and race this bike.
Oh yeah.
But at the moment, just the riser clip-on style, just a little bit more upright, comfortable riding position.
Okay. And what was the group that you mentioned in the media tour about racing this? Was that?
Yeah, so we homologated the motor to race in the Twins Cup class in MotoAmerica.
Okay.
So it'll be, anyone can go out and race it. We do intend to have 2 race teams. They're not announced yet, so I can't go into specifics, but anyone can buy this bike now and go race in the Twins Cup class.
Okay. Now that's the motor more so than the entire bike, right?
Package 2, but the reason I say motor is because you can either run the 8R or the 8S, which runs the same motor. It's the same platform and frame, so just everything else peripheral. Normally you're allowed to change in that kind of class. It's the motor and kind of that base package that has to stick to the one regulation.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful bike. I'm a huge fan of bright colors. I have a bright orange truck and I have green motorcycles, sorry, but I love the bright yellow. Like, it just stands out. The contrast is awesome. The fact that the wheels match the subframe, it's just cool.
Yeah.
Like, it looks good.
They did a good job. The guys that we just did a launch recently, and everyone that rode it was really impressed with how it could be, ridden one day on the street, and then you can go take it to the track, and you're dragging knees and all on the same bike with nothing really done to it. So it's cool.
Very cool. Now, do you mind if I ask you about the 1000 you have over here as well?
Yeah.
Because I'd love to hear about that as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
So this looks very much unlike most Suzukis I've seen. It's almost Transformer-esque. What brought about this styling? Is it a new way that Suzuki's going?
A little bit, yeah. They're going a little more modern, a little more, like Street Fighter kind of stylish, like modern like that. It's a cross between, this bike came about because it's a kind of a cross between the GSX-S1000GX, so the sport touring bike, and then halfway in between that and our V-Strom adventure line. So they calling it the crossover. It's kind of like a mixture between those two worlds. So got the super bike kind of platform with the inline 4 1000cc motor, but in more of an upright kind of adventure-ish style ergonomics. So that's the idea behind that. Styling, like you said, it's more modern and more angular, and I think, yeah, that's a direction they're looking to go, and I think it looks quite nice.
I do too. And again, similar to the 800, I love the contrasting colors between the black, the green, and the silver. I'm just now noticing fully electric suspension front and rear.
So first for Suzuki, it's full electronic suspension. This bike has a lot of electronic features that we've never seen before on Suzuki motorcycles.
Yeah.
So really impressive in that front.
Is it set based off of the ride modes? Is that adjusting based off of how you're riding? Like, how does that work right now?
Yeah, so there's a lot of adjustability on it. Honestly, I'm still learning all the different configurations, but it's got electronic dampening adjustments, so you can either set it in auto and it'll auto adjust to how the riding conditions are, or you can pick like a hard, soft, and those kind of ranges.
Okay.
And then it also has electronic preload, so depending on if you have a passenger or you have saddlebags with weight in there, you can select a preset preload settings and it will adjust your preload in the shock based on that. Or you can set it to auto and it'll sense the weight and adjust based on that. So a lot of different stuff, and then you can also manually set all the options as well.
Okay. Now you mentioned the fact that this is like a crossover between the sport touring and the V-Strom adventure style. Would you say this is a direct competitor to the Kawasaki Versys 1000?
I would say that's pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit of hybrid. So this bike's meant to be on-road pretty much fully. Obviously, like our V-Strom line, that's an off-road adventure style bike.
Right.
So this one takes the ergonomics and kind of the upright feel of an adventure bike, but it's a sport bike.
Yeah,
for sure.
What's the price point of this one?
This one's $18,499.
Okay.
But like I said, it's got the full electronic suite. So the electronic suspension, it's got the IMU with the lean sensitive traction control and ABS and all of the gadgets that go along with that as well.
Very cool. Have you ridden this one yet?
This one I haven't ridden yet, no.
Okay.
No.
I would love to ride it. This is more my style of bike. So I have a Versys 650.
Yeah.
And I'm in love with the Versys 1000. I've done a bunch of comparison videos of this style bike, but I've not ridden this yet because obviously it's brand new. But this is where I see myself gravitating towards, is the sport touring with high-tech type things without being that price point of a BMW.
Sure.
Over $25,000.
And that's a good comparison. So like the BMW S1000XR, that's kind of a direct competitor to this one.
Yeah. The S1000XR I have ridden. I haven't done a video on it, so I don't have any commentary that I can share, but
Sure.
I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of the only BMWs I would buy because of the styling, because of the form factor of it. Like that's how I like to ride.
Yeah, so I would say this is right in that same line. Obviously, we have a great value, compared to a BMW, and it's still a really good performing bike as well.
Very cool. Well, I definitely appreciate you sharing the insights with these two bikes. It's great meeting with you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem. You're welcome.
Yeah. Awesome. So I've said some things about Suzuki recently, about them not changing a whole lot of their bikes, but I want to point out the fact that they've got a bunch of new bikes that they just released this year. So they might not be updating all of their bikes, but they're releasing new bikes, updating a bunch. So they are progressive. So I got to give them kudos for that. They've got some new cool stuff coming out. So this new V-Strom 800 is a really cool bike. I did a review on it when I rode it for the demos. It's a really nice bike to get started out on enduro riding. Still somewhat touring based, but can go off-road too. It's got the nice big front tire. Something I noted a lot. A lot of the Suzukis are adding these quick shifters, and it's one of the smoothest quick shifters I've ridden, so kudos to them on that one too. The new 800, looking at about $11,500. But if you want to trick it out, you can get all kinds of accessories for it. You've got crash bars, hard cases, all Suzuki branded. Looks sharp. I dig it. Love this color, man. Huge fan of orange, obviously. Don't see too many all orange motorcycles that aren't KTM. That's a lot of fairing. Redesigned Hayabusa. It's a heavy bike, 582 pounds, but man, this thing's fast.